Well, I witnessed countless executions during my time as the Grey Room guard. Yes, that's what they call this place, the Grey Room. We are the only prison in this entire region with our very own Grey Room, which is why I witness between 2 to 3 executions a week. Don't get me wrong, I'm not heartless, okay? It's just easier to take the heart out of the equation altogether. Besides, this is just my job. I mean, look at me. I'm sick and I still have to work. But it pays my bills. So that's that. You have all kinds of people walking through that door every day. Grieving spouses, family members, victims of the accused, reporters, and lawyers. Lots of lawyers. By the end of the day, every execution is pretty straightforward. People enter this room, they witness the execution, the warden announces that the prisoner is dead, and well, everyone goes home. Except for this one case this week. Very high profile case. I'm sure you read about it in the news or even talk about it among yourselves. Case 1616, the church and state versus Jesus Christ. I heard there were sworn statements from people saying that this Jesus was going to overthrow the government. Of course, the state saw it as a threat and were very afraid of him and wants him dead. But that's all they had, you know. Sworn statements. I mean, it's not like they had proof that he committed real crimes. But anyways, you know, for all the controversy and talk about this Jesus having supernatural powers, his execution was simple. Just like every other death row inmate, he was wheeled into that room, strapped in and injected. And a few seconds later, I heard his heart rate monitor flatline and out he went. But you know what's the crazy thing? 3 days later, his body went missing. Word was getting around that this Jesus is still alive. I mean, nobody dies and then comes back to life, right? Ridiculous. But somehow I can't help but to feel that this Jesus is who he says he is. I mean, something definitely happened that day. I can't explain what it is, and I don't think anybody else can. You know what? Why don't I bring you back to that day? Just half an hour before the execution, and you'll see what I mean. You have your pass, ma'am?
Hi, is this the...
Observation room, yes. Do you have your pass?
Yes. Here it is.
Thank you. Oh, Mary, mother of inmates. Well, here you go. This way, ma'am.
I'm actually waiting for someone. May I wait out here?
Sure. For what it's worth, ma'am, I don't think it's fair what's happened to your son.
Thank you.
Mary, sorry I'm late. Traffic was an absolute nightmare. Did you manage to get permission to see him?
No, there's a 48-hour ban on visitations before they... I just want to see my son. Don't forget to show him your pass.
Oh, yeah. Hey, don't worry. We know each other. I've been here a few times for work. You ready to go in?
It's true. I do know Mary Magdalene. Or at least how I've heard she get her stories for the Daily Post. I mean, she just has this way with men. She get them to do exactly what she wanted. Not until sometime last year. I heard she was interviewing this general secretary at a UN conference. I don't know what happened there, but I heard she went into this huge outburst, started crying, and even tried to hit the secretary. Of course, they caught her and sent her straight to the mental institute. I heard she was diagnosed with paranoia, anxiety issues. I mean, everyone thought that was it. The career that she spent almost a decade building up, just like that, reduced to nothing. But I heard that this Jesus went to visit her after that and even helped to turn her whole life around. But can people really change? I don't know. I just know she was one way before, and now this whole other person. And I guess she's one of them now.
Be careful.
Never in a million years would I have thought this would happen to him. How could this be? Jesus never cared about the rules. He never cared about doing what was humanly right. He cared only about the truth. And he had a way of loving people whether or not they agreed with him. How can they not see that? How can they not see that he is indeed who he says he is? I keep thinking that at any moment now, God will intervene. God will save my son, his son. Maybe that is why I'm not falling apart. I'm not losing my mind. I keep thinking and hoping that Jesus will make it out. God will do something right. But what if he doesn't? I can't watch him die, Meg. I can't watch him die.
Remember the day we first met? Visiting hours at St. Augustine's were over, yet somehow you and Jesus were permitted to stay and visit me. I had only heard stories of Jesus at that time. I didn't think he could do anything for me. But when I finally met him for myself, when I looked into his eyes, I just knew that he was everything he said he was. And when I knew who he was, I knew who I was, who I was meant to be. The life I led before wasn't the life I was meant to be living. There was so much more. For the first time, someone saw right into my heart, told me just how loved I was, and not in a trite way. He meant everything he said and spoke to all the hatred and shame that had been eating away at me for so long. It took one encounter, Mary. One encounter, and I knew that everything, all my anxiety, all my hallucinations, the nights where I was fighting so hard to keep sane, they were gone. I will always remember that day. And I was so lost in that moment, I didn't even realize that it was you. You, Mary, that had your arms around me the entire time. And that day, more than healing, more than a savior, I never thought I'd meet, I gained a friend. Mary, you're strong, deeply compassionate, and patient in a way that no one else I know is. I don't know what's going to happen, and I can't even begin to imagine how you must be feeling. But this, I promise, that no matter what happens, you won't have to go through it alone.
Tina!
Look,
Tina!
you've done your part.
Tina!
You're not allowed back here.
As a matter of fact, I'm here to make sure you're not either.
Whatever it is you think you have, it's too late. All capital punishment cases go on lockdown 48 hours before execution.
Unless you have proof of foul play. And I do have proof. And so does the district attorney. This morning, I went to the Court of Appeals and I turned in a little something that will let the district attorney in on our secret. I recorded the conversation we had in your office, and he knows you paid me for my false testimony. I was informed that the warden will receive a call any time now to stop the execution. So please, save yourself some face and leave.
I don't know if you have heard, but I went to school with Mikey, the Attorney General. He texted me just before I got here, letting me know he's found some reason to believe that that mysterious recording was a fake. In fact, he threw out the case right about 11 minutes ago.
Wait, that's not possible.
Judas, I've told you once, and I'm going to tell you again. I might have paid for your testimony, but that doesn't mean what you testified against Jesus wasn't true. He deserves to die for what he stands for who he claims to be, and most of all, for all the people he's misled. Now, don't come crying to me just because your conscience can't handle the payoff. You did this to yourself when you took the cash. Like what I said, you're not allowed back here.
I never intended to sell him out. I mean, I did, but I never expected things to be like this. For 10 whole years, I slogged it out at the accounting firm. And yet I was on the verge of getting fired. I just didn't know what to do. And then they offered me $1 million and guaranteed career progression in the government. It was an offer I just couldn't refuse. And I didn't. But Jesus, He led me into His life. His most private moments. We walked, we talked, we ate. We did life together. He was one of the few people who ever bothered to hear what I had to say. My insecurities, my fears, my hopes, and my dreams. And He called me to follow Him. And I did. I said yes to Him. He was more than a teacher, more than a leader. He was my brother. $1 million. It's blood money. I would rather die myself than see him die.
Judas,
Mary,
what are you doing
I'm sorry,
here?
Mary. I never intended for any of this to happen. Mary,
Judas,
Peter,
how dare you show your face here?
I'm sorry, Peter.
You're sorry? He treated you like a brother, like a son. And this is how you repay him.
I know. I try making things right, Peter. I try.
And yet here we all are, waiting for his execution.
You gotta believe me. I even brought in evidence to get the case thrown out. I was ready to take the fall.
Take the fall? Then why didn't you take the fall? Why didn't you take the fall?
I'm sorry, Peter.
Enough with your sorries. We trusted you.
Peter, stop.
You should have never come here. Betrayer. He would have been disgusted. He would have been ashamed to see you.
Dad, what about you?
What about me?
Then what about you? You keep condemning me, giving me smack about what I did as if you haven't done the same thing
It's
yourself.
not the same and you know it,
They
Judas.
showed me your testimony, Peter. You flat out denied him. But yet everyone keeps blaming and blaming me. Why can't anyone see that I've tried? I've been trying and I try. I can't do this anymore. I want to die. I want to die, Peter. You're right. I'm done. No one will blame me anymore. I will take the fall.
Judas. Judas.
Just leave me alone.
Peter. Peter, you really should be careful. The head lawyer's here. If she sees you,
I lied. Mary, I'm sorry. When they brought me in for questioning, I panicked. I didn't know what to do. And I lied to them. They didn't just threaten me. They got to my dad, my wife, and my kids. And now I have no idea how to change the fact that I betrayed him. He told me I would. I didn't believe him. How could I? How could I believe him when I was the one who left everything behind for him? I was the fearless one. But I lied to save myself. And now I'm here. Safe. And it's in there because of me. Mary, isn't he the Son of God? Why can't he save himself?
I don't know why. But Peter, you're forced to make the hardest choice there is, and I can't tell you what Jesus would have wanted you to do. But I do know how much you love him, how much faith you have in him. And I don't know anyone else who would have chosen otherwise. You're a good man, Peter. Don't doubt it for a second. Okay? We really don't have much time to waste. Wait here for me, and we'll go in together. Hmm?
She's right. About that being the hardest choice there is. Now there's nothing I want more in the world than to just take back everything I said. But I can't change the past. I made my choice to betray you. And I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But maybe I can start making the right choices from now.
So, you were the crazy girl in the news last year. I'm surprised you got your job back.
Me too. He didn't. He set me free. I know this sounds crazy, but truly the crazy thing is if you met him for yourself, it's impossible not to be changed by his love. He really is who he says he is. You'll know he's not a criminal.
Well, don't you think it's a little too late for all that now?
It's never too late.
I will now read the warrant. Case 1616, Church and State versus Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ, charged with treason, attempted terrorism, fraud, and disturbance of the peace, has been found guilty. We will now carry out the sentence. We will now administer lethal injection.
The Daily Post reported that the body went missing from the mortuary. The exact time, investigators
Due to what the
are still
hospital
trying to
claims were
determine.
organizational complications, the body wasn't claimed for 2 days.
Authorities say that CCTVs show no sign of intrusion into
Known
the
associates
premises.
of Jesus Christ are currently being detained for further
No one
questioning.
seems to have taken the body.
I'm standing outside what appears to be a place of worship by followers of Jesus Christ.
Police suspect
Men and
it
women
was
who have
stolen.
dug ever since Christ's return.
Anonymous sources tell us, the body is no longer on earth.
Now, for the question that is on everyone's minds, where is
Social media
his body?
platforms are reporting personal encounters, and you won't believe this, with Jesus Christ. Impossible as it seems, he is alive.
You see, everyone in the room that day was a direct witness to Jesus' execution. Mary was a mother who had come hoping to believe that her son would not die. Peter was a follower who had come to seek forgiveness from the very man that he betrayed. Mary Magdalene was a friend who had come to pay respects to the man that turned her life around. Tina, she's just a lawyer who have come to see her case through. But as for me, I'm just the guy in the room. I mean, I happened to be rostered that day, but boy, did I witness something that would change my life forever. I mean, sure, I still don't have all the answers like, who is this Jesus really? Is he really still alive? I mean, where have they taken his body? Or have they even taken it at all? I don't know. But one thing I know is that in a moment when Jesus supposedly died, I felt as if all life has been sucked out of me. Something different happened. And then as I was watching him in his last moments, all I saw was a sense of peace that he had. There was no anger, no struggle. It was as if he knew that all this was supposed to happen. And I don't know if I'm the only person who felt it, but I felt that sense of peace too. Maybe it was coincidence. Maybe it was meant to be. But either way, I know I cannot be the same anymore.
For God so loved the